Hey friends, this is Kelly O'Connor, founder of College Money Academy. I hope you're doing well today. So I asked my kids, it's Saturday, school just ended, and I asked them, I go, is today officially the first day of summer? I mean, if you still had more school, you would be off today anyway, but they were like, yes. So first day of summer begins, which is pretty great for the kiddos. I mentioned the last couple days, I've gone through the discovery of secret number one and the backstory of it, which I think is important. And the secret number one is ignore the cost of attendance listed by a school. You will not pay that price. Throw it out. Do not make a decision based upon that price. And that was because of the discovery that I made just through my year and a half to 2 years of digging into becoming a college planner. Was that when I saw this DOE, Department of Education report, that about 42% of a discount is given on average to private universities, and the number is a little bit lower for state and public schools. So secret number two is virtually every school will give you a lowball offer first. And I want to go into the story of this because you might be able to relate to the dad that really was part of the reason that I discovered this reality, this secret, if you will. So first of all, I want to make sure, as I always start, that I want to encourage you in this college process, right? Whether if your kid's in high school or if your kid just finished their junior year and is going into their senior, this information is critical. And I really want to encourage you that regardless of where you are sitting, whether you have some money saved, whether you have a lot saved, or whether you have none, there's a lot that you can do. And there's reasons why you're put into a position to feel like you're so far behind. And it's in many cases, it's just not true. And there's certainly opportunities to really improve your situation and make it possible. You're, as I say, you're just one step away. So let me go into the backstory of number two. So secret number two, they will virtually always lowball you first. They'll give you a low aid offer. So I got a call from a dad, and it was early spring, early part of the year, like February or March, and he had informed me it was of his kid's senior year. He had informed me of just the quality student his kid was. He was well above average, but yet he just said, "Look, man, I want to meet with you. We got their aid offer." So as I discovered, this kid was above average, certainly, and they offered nothing. And this guy, he's freaking out. He has enough money saved up to send this kid, not to a private university. So the school in question turned out to be a private university, but he had enough to send him to a state. And then he had right behind him, they had two kids in a row. They had all three. I'm pretty quick, but they're very closely spaced. So he had number two and number three that would be following up. So they saved about $100,000, which is awesome. I mean, they saved a lot. But even going to a state school about 25 to 27, they had enough to essentially put this one kid through if they wanted to be debt-free on it. And then that would sacrifice what they're going to be doing for kid 2 and 3. So he's crunching debt numbers, parent-student loan numbers, all that stuff. And he's meeting up with me. And of course, when we're just kind of one-on-one as dads, he's nervous, he's worried. What happens to kid 2 and 3? He's going over his budget. He can't handle all of that debt, certainly, if he were to go through that whole government loan debt process all the way through kid 2 and 3. And that's why he reached out to me. So that's how our conversation started, was going through all of this. And like all dads, though, of course, he's being strong, right? He's telling his kid, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out. He's is telling his wife the same thing. They got it, they'll figure it out. It's similar to what I did when I was first stepping into all this. And as I sat there, I knew that this kid was above average, right? And I also knew that on average, private universities, which was the school in question here, offer about a 42% discount off of their overall sticker price. And I was anticipating when we sat down a good offer. I just was. I knew a little bit about a student. I didn't know about the offer. I knew it was private university, and I was expecting something great. And then I would help him kind of figure out how to pay for it. You see, all my research, I'd interviewed all those other planners, so I had become like them. I just didn't want to charge a fee for it. So, I was good at helping get a kid packaged so they get, oh, there goes my camera stand. Helping a kid get packaged so they get in, right? And then helping mom and dad figure out the best way to pay for it. I love that. Right? So, that's what most of these planners charged a fee for. So that's what I had done. So I was anticipating a good offer, but to look at 0 was even a surprise, to me. And I told him, I said, look, man, let me follow up with you. Because there was a guy that I had recently met who was also a college planner, just someone I had, researched, found, interviewed, talked to, befriended, tried to learn from. And he said something that was kind of like when if you're standing in a dark room and someone turns the light on, right? He said something. He goes, well, Kelly, I'm not surprised because virtually every school is going to give you a low offer first. I was like, wait, say that again? And he said, yeah, they're like auto dealers. And I knew at that point, that's when I really that's when this all came together. It's just like crashing together, that you can ignore the price. You're not going to end up paying that price because there's things that can happen. I just didn't know what those things were. They're going to lowball you, and it makes complete sense. College is a business. Of course they're going to lowball you. Why? Because they have the federal government standing right behind them, offering all the money in the world in order to pay for that price. So what do? They wait to see if you take the government money or if you find a way to just make it happen on your own. It makes complete sense. I mean, the auto dealers, we know they don't just come to the table with their very best offer, and it. They don't show you their cost sheet to see, look, here's our very best deal. They're in it to make some money. The college is no different. They're a business. They're in it, to grow their endowment. They're in it for it all to work. So they wait to see if you take the government money or not. And I knew that was it. That now, as you can see, all this comes together. Now, if we know, based upon the research of an average incoming freshman for that school, which you can find, if we know that this kid is an above average student for that school, and we also know, and you can find this too, we now also know their average aid offers. See, that was the next step, was can we find out how much on average they give per kid? And you can. And I teach how to find that. So now I ended up calling that guy back saying, all right, don't accept that. Got a little research to do, and I'm going to follow up with you. Because if virtually every school is going to do this, then what we have to do as parents is discover schools where our kid is average or above average academically, and then discover what their average aid offers are. And now, when we know that on that bell curve, we are pushed over to this front end, when we discover that they give us a lowball financial aid offer first, it's not a surprise. But then there's something we can do about it. You see, that's kind of the transformation of all this. We now have the ability to actually act on that reality that they've lowballed us, and we know we're above average for them, and we know there's money on the table from them, but they just didn't give it to us yet. Well, see, that's secret number 3, and I'll get to that probably tomorrow. So secret number 1, ignore the cost of attendance. You're not going to pay that price. Don't make your decision based upon the price. If it's a private university and it's more expensive, but your kid is average to above average for that school, go for it. Private universities have a ton of money, and they're going to lowball you though. So it's going to come back to you to be like, oh my God, look, see, we can't do 50 grand, but there's a lot of money on the table that maybe we can push you over to the top of that bell curve. And that's what College Money Academy does. So that's why I built this. That's why I started to speak all throughout the state to schools, to high schools, to teach parents how to do this. And that's why College Money Academy was created, because I can provide this in a format to where any parent can discover how to do this and feel empowered, not feel nervous anymore, and make college happen. So as I say, you're just one step away. You're one step away from your kid getting to school that they've earned the opportunity to get to. You're one step away from making however much you've saved enough money to put not only kid 1, but maybe 2 and 3 in. You're one step away from your kid not being burdened with too much student loan debt. You're one step away from you not being burdened with the debt. You're one step away from not having to deplete your asset. Hey, my daughter's watching. Well, hello, Madison. That's pretty awesome. Thanks for watching, Mads. You're just one step away from making it possible. And I've got videos of my daughter and I. You got to watch those on what happened with her. So I hope you have a great Saturday, first day of summer here. And don't know what it is when you're watching this, but today is the first day of summer for the kids. So I hope you get out there, have some fun, and I'll probably see you tomorrow as we dig in to wrap up these 3 secrets, and I'll go into the backstory of secret number 3. We'll talk to you soon.